Hey guys, Bowie here, and before this video starts, I'm proud to tell you about Upcomer. They are a great tool for Dota and esports fans that want to stay up to date about what's going on in the scene. Don't know who that stand-in is? The player that you like so much is not playing in a team anymore. You want to know if there's any games you're interested going on? They got you. Check the video description and the pinned comment for both iOS and Android links. Mason is a legend. 3rd place at TI, huge streamer, top 30 NA player, and also quite the creative player. I don't think he gets highlighted enough for it, and I did produce a carry bounty hunter video about him, and today I want to teach you how to counter Drow Ranger with Wraith King, to me the easiest way possible. So the idea of this video is to explain why Wraith King is such a good counter. If you're into stats, you're probably scratching your head thinking about why this video is not about Lycan or Conquer. Well, first of all, not everyone plays Lycan. The hero does require some micro, and it's actually a pretty different hero from, other ones we're used to in the Dota scene. The hero is indeed pretty good at countering Drow, and while Mason is a safe lane player and not a mid player, so there's not going to be Kunkka, Wraith King is just an easy hero to play, and I don't think teaching how to counter Drow Ranger, one of the most popular heroes of all time, with a hero that no one plays, really fits as a proper counter. So the reason Wraith King is good against Drow Ranger is very similar to why Lycan is great against Drow. Wraith King is a great tower pusher, and that's why this is the most popular skill build just yet. While this hero technically farms fast since he has a crit, what really makes this hero good are your scaling bros farming for you. It's safe, it pressures objectives, and by opening early towers with it, which Mason does, without any special items, his supports can ward the enemy triangle and put pressure in the Drow Ranger so that she doesn't grow as fast as normal. This is the first big core of this strategy. Since the Drow is pressured and the tier 1s will be pushed, you're now in a situation where you can control the mid game. As a Wraith King without Radiance, you cannot put pressure in the triangle by yourself, so once you're done with the tier 1 towers, this is the area you should be farming at all times. With tier 1s down, it's easy for your supports to ward this area right here, and with that warded, the possibility of you dying is so minimal because there's only 2 paths to get to you, and you also have 2 lives. So it's very easy for your supports and other heroes to help you while you're farming the safest, most interesting place for you at this moment. That's why Mason can get away with farming a Radiance without Midas in a game where you're playing against Drow and Invoker. You could even say they are on a timer here. These wards are so important that you should buy them yourself if your supports can't. Mason farmed here and telegraphed all the movements from Dire with ease. Eventually, when his wards expire, he leaves that area for a bit since the fight middle is now over and it's bounty room time, but basically, what gave him this minute 15 Radiance with no Midas is literally what we talked about. Make sure you take the tier 1 tower top, ward the high ground, and profit. Your skeletons push the wave massively well, and you have vision of the only spot they can use to gank you. The Radiance itself is not necessarily what counters Drow Ranger though, and I think a lot of people get this wrong. The first thing was the tower sieging we talked about, and the next one is his gap closing. You see, armor and evasion are 2 things that deal well with right-click cores most of the time, but not Drow Ranger. When she procs her ult, she does not miss attacks, and those attacks also ignore armor, meaning the Radiance is not that huge of a deal. The reason you go Radiance instead of, say, Blink Dagger and start diving the Drow Ranger very early is that you're pretty bad at fighting until you at least have level 2 ult. The cooldown on your level 1 ult is awful, and thus if you go Blink Dagger, Blink Dagger is way cheaper than Radiance, so you're gonna get it fast. Once you proc your ult, now you have a hero that scales with damage, but he's unable to fight for a billion years. That's why people go Midas and Radiance on this hero. It is a better use of your time early on, and since you can push waves freely, you are rarely going to be punished by farming such a big item. The second reason Wraith King counters Drow Ranger is that he is a natural blink carrier, the gap closing we were talking about. This hero usually gets 2 initiations in a fight. The first one, and hopefully if he lives for 12 seconds, he will have blink available again. Before we get to Blink Dagger though, there's one power spike we have to talk about, and that is Radiance in level 12. Your hero is ready to start pressuring those tier 2 towers by himself and not the scaling bros, and that will hinder Drow's farm even more. Even without Blink Dagger, you're a force to be reckoned with. The scary thing about this power spike is that the enemy has two choices. They give away their tier 2 towers, or they fight against you. Drow at this stage is not a super strong hero, especially if you as a Wraith King made sure to take all the tier 1 towers down. If they lose this fight, since you have a second life in skeletons, it's super easy to snowball even harder. Drow also sucks against the skeletons. You don't want to go Aghanims or Maelstrom before a couple of items, meaning that she's forced to gust for them only to survive. This fight showcases pretty well why Wraith King is good versus Drow, besides the points we already mentioned. Mason jumps to Drow here, even though he has no stun, and that's the beauty of it. While Drow can itemize against the Wraith King, she cannot fight once the Blink Dagger is up and her Hurricane Pike was used. Note that Mason never chases her down. The objective here is not necessarily kill her, but win the fight, and without her, their DPS is severely limited. The Drow can never come back, and they crush this fight. Another technique that is similar to what Lycan does is leaving your skeletons on one side of the map and fighting the other one. Everyone knows that skeletons will aggro to whoever you stun, but there is a cap on the range, meaning that you can force the Drow into a fight while their skeletons shred their base and they're forced to decide if they want to retreat and lose the fight or stay there and lose their buildings. This was showcased nicely on the third game of the Major between EG and NIP, and whilst the Wraith King did lose that game, it was not against the Drow, so we're not even going to dwell on that too much. We're actually not talking about this at all. Wraith King is awesome. This is why the skeleton damage talent started to become so popular. It is rare to see games where the Wraith King gets the double amount one since you don't build many mana items, and in this case in particular, Mason was against Bane and Invoker, so you do need the no mana reincarnation talent. Another thing Wraith King has on Drow that not many people talk about is the Aghanim Scepter upgrade. Drow is notoriously bad against multiple targets or very tanky heroes, and the eggs makes that nightmare a reality. While she just used Gust to kill someone, well, he's going to respawn and he's going to stun the Drow and everyone's going to dive her. I lost a bunch of Drow games against Wraith King eggs, and this is a 7k game showcasing how annoying it is for Drow to deal with it. Well, the game was actually over when the Aghanim Scepter got completed, but imagine those heroes respawning and killing the Drow again. You can see that Mason never went AC this game, only the casual Hyperstone. At this stage, Drow has level 3 marksmanship and 40% of her attacks ignore armor anyway, so while the AC gives him some DPS, not being affected by the Invoker spells and Rolling Thunder are much better options. He also gets Basher once Drow has BKB, so he can get the Abyssal and handle her better, but yeah, the process of countering her with this hero is not rocket science. Push the tier 1 towers with max skeletons, do not farm Radiance in your dead lane, fight with Radiance level 2 ult while forcing tier 2 towers, get map control and starve her out. This might not be the best Drow counter that exists, but it's a simple one that everyone can get behind. Guys, thank you very much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. You guys know this, I'm not the type of person that chooses sponsors lightly. I had hundreds of sponsor offers during my time on YouTube, and this is probably the 4th one I'm accepting, so make sure to check these guys out because I think they're pretty cool. Thank you very much, have a good one, bye.